I didn't come to Silver Pine Ridge to get into a gunfight. After 10 years serving as a Navy Special Warfare operator, I wanted nothing more than peace. A quiet neighborhood, trees that didn't hide explosives, mornings that didn't start with alarms. But peace is a fragile thing, especially when some people confuse authority with power. And no one fit that description better than our HOA president, Linda Holbrook. The first time I met her, she marched toward me with a clipboard like it was a sword. I was unloading boxes from my truck when she said, "We maintain high standards here." I gave her a polite smile and replied, "I've lived under stricter standards than you'll ever write on that paper." She didn't like that. I could see it instantly in the way her jaw tightened. From that moment on, I was added to her list, a list of people she intended to fix. Over the next few weeks, warnings began appearing on my door. Improper storage of tools, unauthorized equipment visible from the driveway, even a notice claiming my garden hose was non-compliant. It would have been funny if it wasn't so predictable. Then came her so-called enforcement team, 2 men she sent around like they were her personal police force. Ray Doyle and Carter Finch. Tactical vests, dark sunglasses, fake radios clipped to their shoulders. It was like watching kids play dress-up, except these kids were adults with power complexes. I warned them once, calmly, that if they stepped onto my property again, I'd let the sheriff handle it. Ray smirked and said, "We're in charge around here." And I answered with a simple, "Not over me." That bruise to his ego should have been the end of it. But men who crave authority don't retreat. They escalate. It was a blistering afternoon when everything snapped. Close to 1 o'clock, with the pavement so hot the air above it shimmered. I had just said goodbye to a friend a block away and was walking back home when a black SUV jumped the curb and screeched to a stop in front of me. Dust rose, tires skidded, and for a split second, I thought maybe someone had simply lost control. But then the doors flew open. Ray stepped out on one side, Carter on the other, both wearing those ridiculous vests like they were headed into a war zone. Ray grinned like he'd already won whatever game he thought we were playing. "Afternoon, buddy," he said. "We had reports about more violations on your property. Need you to answer a few things." I brushed past him. "Not today." He moved in front of me again, blocking my path. Carter took a step closer, and that's when I noticed it, his hand resting on a real handgun. Not a prop, not a toy. A real, steel, loaded weapon. His voice cracked as he barked, "Don't move." The world went quiet for a moment. Not fear, focus. That razor perspective I'd spent years mastering. My right hand slid behind my back toward the concealed SIG SAR I'd carried legally for years. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't posture. I simply said, "You're not law enforcement. Move your hand off that gun." Ray stepped forward, chest puff, trying to look 10 feet tall. "We're acting under authority of the HOA," he said. "You've been ignoring fines, ignoring warnings." I kept my tone calm. "Pretending to be cops is a felony. Ray, put the gun down before someone gets hurt." Carter's breathing grew shallow. His eyes twitched, and I recognized that look instantly. I'd seen it overseas, a man terrified of a weapon in his own hand, desperate to prove something he didn't understand. Those men were dangerous, unpredictable, trigger-happy. "You take one more step," I warned, "and you won't like how this ends." Ray scoffed. His bluffing. Look at him, hands behind his back like his scade. In reality, my hand was wrapped around my SIG's grip. Carter jerked upward, gun raising toward me. Training took over. 3 shots cracked through the stillness of the street. The sound echoed between houses. The first hit Carter's shoulder and spun him sideways. The second hit his thigh. The third shattered the gun from his hand, sending it skidding across the hot pavement. He fell screaming, clutching himself. But he was alive. Ray charged, roaring like a man who didn't understand what fear was until it reached him. I twisted, grabbed his wrist, and pinned it. Then I drove my knee into his ribs. One blow, then another, feeling bones shift under the impact. His body collapsed, and I took him to the ground. The crack that followed wasn't the pavement. It was him. Neighbors rushed out, doors flew open, and phones came up. Someone yelled for the police. Someone else shouted that there had been gunfire. I stepped back, lowered my weapon toward the ground, and said clearly, self-defense. They drew first. Ray groaned beside me, clutching his ribs, wheezing for air. Carter lay bleeding but conscious, trembling in pain. Within minutes, sirens filled the street. Real cops this time. 3 cruisers skidded in, officers jumping out with weapons raised. "Hands up!" they shouted. I raised them slowly. My firearm is holstered. Suspect 1 is armed. Suspect 2 is down. They cuffed me, standard procedure, and secured my weapon. Medics rushed to the 2 men. Ray screamed when they lifted him, breath rattling in his chest. Carter's shoulder was a mess, and his thigh bone looked like someone had snapped a branch inside his leg. Sheriff Mark Winston arrived shortly after, a man with years in his eyes and enough experience to see through chaos quickly. He studied the scene before walking over to me. "You the homeowner involved?" "Yes, sir." They pulled a gun on me, claimed to be enforcing HOA rules. He sighed. "Those are fake badges. Idiots." I nodded toward the neighbors. "Plenty of footage if you need it." He studied me for a moment. "Military. Former Navy Special Operations." "That explains the precision," he said softly. "We'll confirm your permit, but looks justified." The investigation that followed didn't take long. Both Ray and Carter admitted Linda Holbrook had sent them to put pressure on me because I refused to pay her bogus fines. Her words, according to them, were, "Make him comply. Scare him if you have to." That statement alone earned her charges of conspiracy, solicitation, and abuse of authority. She resigned before her hearing. In the end, Carter received 6 years in prison and heavy fines. Ray got 4 years and would likely live the rest of his life with a limp. Linda got 18 months in county jail and a lifetime ban from HOA leadership. A week later, Sheriff Winston handed me the official report. "You're cleared," he said. "Completely justified." I looked down the street where everything had unfolded and said quietly, "Good. Maybe next time they'll think twice before pretending to be cops." He chuckled. "Most of the HOA board quit this morning." I smiled. "Then it's already a better neighborhood." "Now you tell me, if 2 fake officers pulled a gun on you in your own street, what would you have done?" I hope you like MY's story. For more interesting stories, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.